Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media Group, and tonight we're on our political channel, and we have our third district councilwoman, Miss Melissa Robinson, on, and she's here to talk about the city council meeting that she attended today, and she'll be doing a weekly thing, giving our community what's going on after some of these meetings, so that we can become more informed and be able to give the support where the support is needed to make our community uh, better functioning. So without further ado, Councilwoman Robinson, how you doing today, Ms. Robinson?
I am blessed and very grateful to be here on this Thursday. Another opportunity to serve the community, to attend another council meeting, to fight for what it is that we deserve, and to hold the line. So it's been another Thursday at City Hall.
Oh, you know what? I love it. You said to hold the line.
Hold the line.
All right. Uh, let's get to where the tide meets the road and give our audience a rundown of what's been taking place at council meeting.
Absolutely. So today we did do a bit of work on our city manager search. We narrowed it down to three candidates. So we'll be looking to interview on May 1st, Kamiko Gilmore, Mario Vasquez, Platt Klein. So we're looking to fulfill the city manager role. We also voted today on a workforce development center in the Northland, where the city will be investing over $25 million for workforce development in the community. One contentious issue related to our community, there were a couple things that happened this week. So with City Council, we have a committee meeting where we have hearings. People can come testify. We dig deeply into different bills and resolutions. And then on Thursday, we finalize those resolutions. And so I do want to take us a little bit back till Tuesday. I introduced a bill last week that will look at, it's a resolution that looks at the Wayfair tax. And what that is, in Kansas City, we have special use taxes. And that is like the Central City Economic Development Sales Tax. That's our fire tax. That's our public safety tax. That's our KCATA tax for the buses. That's our public mass transit tax. It's about a half a dozen of them. And if you buy something online, all of those tax revenue, which is 3.25%, goes to the general fund. These are taxes that we voted on. Just this past April, we voted on the 20-year tax for public safety to build a rehabilitation and detention center. If you purchase something online, zero of those tax dollars go to that dedicated purpose. So I worked on Tuesday to right size that. So what does that look like? Central City Economic Development Sales Tax is a tax that it's for over 10 years. We have, I think, 2 years left on the tax. And it's supposed to generate $7 to $10 million just for the East Side, for our community, right? With this Wayfair tax, we are losing $3 million every year because of online sales. The money doesn't go to the tax, it goes to the general fund, in which we have the discretion to spend it on a variety of things. That didn't make it out of committee. I'm not happy about it. It got killed in committee. This is important to me because I believe that when people vote on these taxes and you go to the polls, you're not differentiating between whether or not you're buying something online or at a brick and mortar store. You want your money, all of your tax money, to go to that dedicated purpose. So we'll be working to continue to fight that issue. In addition, today I I don't I want to make sure if you have any clarifying question, I'm explaining
I
something
want to
that
get clarified this.
okay.
Who voted against it? Because I'm going to give you a comparison. I go to KU. I graduated. I have millions of dollars. I want to support just the football team, but I put the money in the athletic department, or I put the money, give the money to school, and none of the money goes to the football team. It goes to other projects because it's in a
Yeah.
general fund. Is
Well,
that
yeah.
similar?
Yes, and I want people to know that it's all legal. This is something called a local use tax. In 1993, the voters said if local use tax goes to the general fund. My contention is in 1993, we had nearly nowhere near the number of online sales that we have in 2025. And so there was only a very small, significant portion. And then the Wayfair judgment didn't come until 2023. So this $100 million that is now going to the general fund, we only could access most of it since 2023. So why aren't we putting it in the right direction? So let me tell you who's on the committee. I introduced the resolution, and the resolution was really to not just snatch away $100 million out of the general fund. The resolution was to get a report back from our city manager so that we understand what these taxes are being used for and what do we do, what's the plan to right size them and send them to where they need to go, right? That's a judicious thing to do. And so on that committee, we have Andrea Boo is the chair, Councilwoman Boo. Mayor Lucas is the vice chair. And then Crispin Raya is Councilman Raya is on the committee, as well as Russ Rogers and Councilman Daryl Curls. Daryl Curls was the only vote to support this resolution. All the other council members voted to hold it off docket. And when we hold something off docket, it's essentially saying this is not something that we're interested in. Now, to be fair, the argument becomes on their side is that, if we want to move the money around, how about we just do it through an ordinance versus getting the information? I feel like we need to work with our city manager to right size this. And aside from having a policy, we're going to continue the status quo. So it's going to take additional legislation for us to get this right. Mr. Nelson, I talked to many voters about this. And I asked them, A, did they know that if they purchased something online, that none of their sales taxes went to these special funds that they voted on? 100% of them said no. In addition, I asked them, well, if all of these monies were going to the general fund and not to the special use funds, those dedicated sources, what would you have to say about your local government? Everyone described it as being dishonest, deceptive, untruthful. And that's why I think it's important for us to deal with this because we need a government where when we pass these taxes, people have a level of trust and confidence. I do want to reiterate nobody's doing anything illegal. It's totally legal for us to do it. But my question is what's legal is not always right. And so when we talk about, I just was watching the Ruth Bader Ginsburg story on Netflix and all of the things around gender discrimination. All of those things were legal, but were they right? When we talk about African Americans and discrimination and all the things that we've been through in this country, they were all legal, but were they right? And so I contend that at City Hall, we have to stop playing games and we have to do the right we have to make the right conscious choices that endear public support and trust. So, real quickly, I want to talk about one other thing, and then we can switch or kind of
Open up the discussion for other
open up the
issues.
discussion. So today, I fought a good fight to help to save the grocery store on 31st and Prospect. The council voted in November to infuse funds into a store that we own. We're the landlord for the store on 31st and Prospect. And
Would you reiterate that again? Who owns the property on 31st Street?
the city of Kansas
Right.
City.
And that Don Maxwell does not own it. He is managing it.
He's a manager. And I
Right.
just want to give a shout out to Crispin Raya today because earlier in the session, we talked about infant mortality and we talked about maternity mortality and all of the issues, and we all voted to uplift the work that's being done in the community around birth equity. And then when we have an opportunity to address the grocery store that we own, there's a big debate and it fails and is sent back to committee. Not saying that the ordinance failed. We will hear it on Tuesday. But we had debate. I wanted to get the contract done as soon as possible because the store is in decline. The shelves are bare. They have public safety issues, which we're responsible for. If you own a property and people are on your property misbehaving, it's not all the time the tenant's responsibility to address the misbehaving unless they're misbehaving in their property, right? And so we have a lot of issues that are happening in the parking lot where residents do not feel comfortable in shopping at the grocery store. They do not feel that they should come spend their hard earned money and have to endure these public safety challenges that are there. Um, I've been in the store. I've seen it. I grew up on 33rd and Jackson, so I'm like, hey, we're gonna deal with it. We're gonna spend our coins in our community, but I cannot blame people for feeling like they want to shop in peace. So today, the council had already allocated money to the store. And so today, the fight was, can we relax some of the requirements? If you're going to give someone money to do something for a year, and then say you have to be open for 36 months, 3 years, that's not balanced, right? And so we wanted to relax some of those requirements to allow our community improvement district, which have two staff members on our CID, to negotiate those terms.
First
And
of
so
all, tell our audience what CID is, because everybody's not
community,
sophisticated. That's what our network's about. Break it on down to the
yeah,
hood.
so a CID is a beautiful tool in that it's 1% tax on whatever you spend in that store, in that area, in that district, goes back to support the viability and the vibrancy of the district. And people think, oh, sales taxes are, regressive. We don't like them. But the reality of it is in Kansas City, there's a CID everywhere. So if you go on the plaza, if you go to Westport, if you go to um, Zona Rosa, anywhere you go, you're going to be in this CID. So it generates 1% that will help with snow removal, that will help with signage, that will help with security. And so on our CID, because the city owns the property, we have our acting city manager, Kamiko Black Gilmore, is on the CID, and Mario Vasquez, who's also an assistant city manager and the director of planning. He's the chair of the CID. So that provides you with the governance and the oversight to make sure that as we're spending the money to ensure that the grocery store stays open, that you do have the appropriate, you're not just writing a blank check, but you have city staff members who are governing this work. And so yes, I was hoping to get 9 votes so that we can move forward with the contract that we have been trying to get done since November of 2024. And we'll have to wait another week. There'll be a hearing at
How
1:30.
many
I'm
votes
sorry.
did you get, or did
We did get 7 votes. We did get 7 votes, but we
can
needed
we
nine.
can you remember who voted? Because I think it's very important for the people that look at this interview to know who voted which way.
Yes, and so we had our third district council members, myself and Patterson Hasley, our fourth district council members, Daryl Curls and Raina Park Shaw. We had our fourth district council members that voted in support of it, and myself. We also had, I believe it was Nathan Willett, in addition to that, that supported it as well. So we were short a couple votes. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the mayor's support. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get three of the four Northlanders to vote for it.
Who are they?
But
I like you to be specific.
yeah, so I just want to make sure that, when you start calling names, you got to be right.
I know, but and I'm saying if you can remember, because
Yeah,
where I'm with Cascade Media Group and Miss Nelson being a transplant since 1975 from New
yeah,
York here, seen Kansas City grow. I've been involved
yeah.
in business, politics, and the other things. And the third district has been treated like a stepchild. Uh, the Prospect Corridor, uh, the shopping center. I had went down Prospect yesterday to go to Aldi's, and on 35th and Prospect, it looked like The Walking Dead. And the only bright part I seen when I got down by the Aldi's, I seen they had started the building on the opposite side of the street. They had some they have housing going up on the next
Mm-hmm.
block per se.
Mm-hmm.
And that took so long to take place. And
Yeah.
I was like, thank you, Jesus. When I
Yeah.
seen, go ahead.
Well, and I want people to understand and know that, I have 2 more years left on the council. You need votes in order to get things done. So when you hear council people that are a little bit reticent or not wanting to just, come out and say, hey, so and such and such, it is because of the collegial relationship that is necessary in order to get things done. Um, and they have an opportunity to provide some redemption on Tuesday, right? So we're going to continue to apply pressure. It was something that was in committee for 1 week. It was held. We wanted to bring it out of committee and vote on it. It required a higher threshold of votes. Instead of it takes 7 votes to pass anything, but if you want to pass it in advance, it takes 9. And so they have an opportunity on Tuesday to vote this out of committee, and I want that to happen. And and so we're just encouraging our colleagues, which I think that they will do the right thing. Now, if I come back here Thursday and we don't have a contract, that I'm gonna have a different tone and temperature.
I
But
like that. I like that.
yes, but as of now, we have to work together to get this done and over the threshold.
To me, I would hope that the mayor would show some form of leadership. It seems like he's at the top of the pecking order on a lot of these boards and got a little Trump in him, want to control everything. He need to control that daggone Linwood Shopping Center and the Prospect Corridor because, as you say, that's where you grew up. When I first moved here, I had my candy store at 3027 Prospect. Have seen Prospect uh, develop, but I think our community is owed much more than what's there. And it takes, again, it takes the whole council, it takes the city to understand the people that have the power. And I wanted to speak on, you said that new job center or training center was going over in the Northland. For the last 7 to 10 years, I was looking at why hasn't minority contractors uh, been effective for our community and why we haven't had any of these programs that uh, can create jobs for our community. I think the Northland, this is me because I live in the third district, they're taking a lot of the revenue and a lot of everything over there and is forgetting about our area. But you know more about that and have to, I would think, be diplomatic. As you say, you have to deal with your colleagues. But I'm speaking not as from a media company. I live in the third district. I live in
Yeah,
senior citizens.
yes. And, I don't look at things from a scarcity approach. The Workforce Development Center is a very beautiful project. I support it. And I believe it's a both and. But we have to call a spade, and we have to be really honest and transparent about what's happening. And here are the funky facts, as Jim Nunley would say. Here are the funky facts. That
Granddad.
yes, here they are. And that is, we feel it, we see it, we hear it, we know it. That there are parts of our community when they want something, they get it. And unfortunately, we don't. And so my theory of change is really about, hey, they can get all their shiny things, but where is ours? We have to get ours. And that's what we're working on. We have Alicia Kennedy, former council member Alicia Kennedy, put together, along with the former council, a shared success fund. We need to use that, right? And we need to, where is that? Was they're building a workforce development center? Our Penn Valley is crumbling. Like, how do we upgrade our workforce development centers? And so we need to work to ensure that we have places where folks in the city can learn and grow and build an economic base. We did pass the economic mobility initiative along the Prospect Corridor, zip code 64127, 64128. There's going to be an RFP on bonfire. So I would love to, Mr. Nelson, for you to get on here with, the Black Chamber and Billy Gilreath and others, so we can talk about this MBE thing. I can talk about it from my perspective, but Kelvin Perry's been doing this for a long time, and we need to lean into those discussions to chart a path forward. Um, but with this economic mobility program, it really is about how are we going to get people who are in extreme poverty, making $14,000 a year, to $60,000 a year. Mr. Nelson, if you had three strategies on somebody right now who was, let's just say they're 32 years old, they have two kids, they're making $18,000 a year, and they're part of the reason that they're staying at that spot is because there's a benefits cliff, right? If they make more, they don't get some of the benefits, health insurance, child care assistance, food assistance. What would be your three strategies to get that family from let's just say 18,000. We're gonna say 18,000, from 18,000 to $60,000 a year.
I couldn't give you no strategy because, from my perspective, all the things that we have talked about, you have to look at in a different light. And our community is so decimated that I believe that you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and we have to look to our youth. And when I say our youth, I'm talking about middle school, uh, and we have to create programs that, uh, in education, in our educational system as well, that put the emphasis on the whole. And when we lived together, when the third district really was the third district and the fifth district was the fifth district, most of the people that were able to get to that 80,000 or whatever you mentioned, they moved out the community. And
No, that's
so
unacceptable.
right. This is what I'm saying. You're saying, so I'm saying you can't change anything until you can communicate with the people you say you want to communicate with.
Yeah.
Because uh, one thing I was going to ask you, that's why I asked you the names, because see, if you could communicate with your community, then uh, you would be putting some things out saying, these are the people that voted against this. And I urge you to call, to write, and what have you. But and that message has to be repeated. I'm in the business of media, and McDonald's, they sell all the hamburgers, but they're constantly, and what I find, our community don't want to spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to just be pointing the fingers, but they don't want to approach things in a different way. And I've talked to some of the people. I'm like, uh, the Sunfresh issue. I said, if you really need to spend some money to create a campaign that's telling our community, all our churches, one day a month, everybody in the Black community needs to shop here, but you got to make that safe. Uh, I say, you need to start a campaign, and it's a drip drip thing about our community that we have to take care of our community.
Yeah.
And but nobody wants to spend money on the process, and you only can do that through media, whether it's
Yeah.
print, it's a combination. But
Yeah.
when I talk about joining the community, people be like, well, it's your company. I have the only company that is capable of doing that right now on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
We have a large audience, but what Black owned company can you call and say, I want to get on right now, or
Yeah.
I want to do this right now? And when you don't have your leadership that understands communications is number one thing you need to be dealing with, and then you need to have a succinct message and a strategy that you can deliver to the bottom two-thirds of your community. And the more they become engaged, it's a two-pronged thing, because you want them to be able to act on what you're talking about now, but the more they listen, the more they bring other people to the network.
Yeah.
Then whatever the ministers are doing, whatever the businessmen are doing, whatever anyone is doing on the behalf of people of
Mm-hmm.
color.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
not
what I
abashedly unashamed to say I'm interested in Kansas City, but I'm only interested in what's happening to people of color in the education system, in the economic system, in the political system. And our political politics have not been successful in representing us on policy change and on economics, where we are spending our money and who we're spending our money with. And we have not sufficiently understood the importance of this communications when it comes to creating an atmosphere where we all can come in the big tent, so that we don't have to like each other, but we agree that these policies are good for our community, and then we come together, and that strengthens your hand as our politician represent. And so when I'm speaking logic and I don't see my leadership or my politicians, I'm like, you gaslighting and you full of crap. For my position, really, and this is to all you Black politicians, I feel we got to get rid of y'all. Y'all are most of the problem, because how can I address the majority community when y'all keep playing games?
well, and that's the thing, and I'm we can wrap it up, but I'll tell you what I'm committed to. Um, and that is that we have to understand our power. We are a democratic republic. So what that means is I'm not here to represent Melissa Joy Robinson. I'm here to represent you, Mr. Nelson. You live in the third
I
district.
already know that. You
I'm
know I
here to
named you a
represent
soul sister.
I'm here to represent you. And that's every politician. We're not here to serve ourselves. We're here to serve you. So for me, I here's what I'm committed to. I'm committed to, obviously investing. I'm committed to showing up, telling you about what the policy ideas are. And I'm committed to sharing information about how to contact your elected officials. You should be contacting everybody and saying, this is how I feel about this. Will you meet with me? This is what I want and need from our community. Will you stand up and show up for me? And we will see, I believe, a change. But yes, as African American politicians, I am completely disturbed by how we're showing up for our brothers, our sisters, and people who are the least of those. And I don't care if you black, white, brown, purple. I don't care if you poor and you need support, you need assistance, you need a hand up, you need investment. The people of Kansas City deserve the same level of investment than developers receive because the people are our real economic driver.
There we
And so
go.
that is what I'm committed to do is to share with you what's happening and to invite you in and invite the audience in on participating. It's a contact sport. It's a inside outside game. It's a team sport. I play one role. I will introduce a policy. I can go advocate for it, but it's your audience that is the turnkey. 10 committed people that will not give up could change any policy here at City Hall. 10, just 10.
But they need the leadership, Melissa. And I am so glad that we're back on track. Uh, and you've done your 4 years, uh, really six up now.
Mm-hmm.
Community, she's ready to move now because once you serve 4 years, you learn where everything is. New council people, they don't know nothing per se. She's in position to get what we need, but she needs the support from the total community.
Yeah.
And I think this is the beginning.
Yes.
On
It,
closing, what would
yes.
you have to say to our community and give them your contact information?
Thank you all so much for showing up. Thank you for all. We know that we are all fighting. We all want the best for our community. And I just would encourage you to plug in. The third district we have on May the 6th on Wednesday. I believe it's a Wednesday. Um, we are going over our third district to do list. We've asked all of our third district residents, what's the one thing that you need me to represent, that you need me to get done in a year's time? So we have the pedal to the metal. We want you to plug into what's happening, to the policies that are happening. We're launching a program to help to address some of the vacant lots that are in our community. Please reach out to me at melissa.robinson@kcmo.org. That's melissa.robinson at kcmo.org. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on all the platforms, but if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, that's probably the one that's most responsive. You can call me 816-513-6513, 513-6513. But I'm here. Connect to our newsletter. You go to the city's website, kcmo.gov, and you go to our communications page. You can subscribe to the third district newsletter, and we will send you out information. We're working on leadership development right now for the third district. We're asking every resident to take a leadership assessment and to know where their skills lie because I'll be gone in 2 years. I won't be on the city council. We're going to need a cadre of leaders that are ready to be positioned to take the third district to the next level. Our theme this year is Bloom Where You're Planted. We have a lot of people, like you said, who have left the community. You need to come back and invest. You were planted here. We need your flowers. And those of you who are planted and are still here, we want to make sure that you have flowers. And so that's what we're doing. We're pouring into our um, our small businesses in the third district, and we're working. So, Mr. Nelson, thank you for this time. I'm gonna sign off, and I'll be on hopefully next week around the same time.
All right. Uh, I'm going to give you Jim Watts sign off a little bit. He's he always be signing off like this, Melissa. It was a plum pleasing pleasure having you on the show. I be like, Jim, cut it out, man. Cut it
I
out.
love Mr. Wise. We go way back.
But as we sign off on all our shows, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
This is brought to you by Kansas City Business Association, working to improve our community.